I was just in like an area where I guess there's like more older people, and while I was there, like walking around or whatever, like there was like two older women who were kind of like giving me kind of the evil eye, I guess, and like purposely like standing in my way and crap like that. Like they would just get like passive aggressive where they would just like kind of see that you're somewhere and then like stand right in front of you. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I've noticed this issue with older women. And one of my first jobs, like a million bajillion years ago, is I worked at a department store, and for whatever reason, they stuck me in like the old lady department that had like Jones New York and Eileen Fisher. And naturally, most of the women working in that department were like older women, and I was like the youngest one there. I don't know why, and I even like requested to get transferred out to that and like be put in like free people and stuff like that. Like why am I here? And like the manager like denied my request. And as I said, I had drama with those old people, and like I can tell, like they give you like the evil eye, like they just look at you and they don't like you because you're young. And as I've said in previous videos, I've mentioned how I've had this with like older family members, because like in my like dysfunctional family, like they kind of have like a status thing based off of age. And like, and it's interesting because when you have to like build your status just based off of age, like usually it's because you don't have anything going on up here, so you're like, oh, I'm older, I'm automatically smarter, which first of all, I have to be stupid to think that. And second of all, just because you're older doesn't mean like you're smarter, obviously. Like, it's about experience, not about age. And they think like just because they've reached like a certain age, that means that they're at a higher mental state than the people younger than them. Meanwhile, I met people younger than me who are smarter than me. It's about experience. Just if you're old and like you're just closed off and isolated and you don't do anything, you're not going to be smarter than someone who's younger than you and has more life experience. Yeah, I'm very familiar with like old people and just giving, especially older women. I've noticed this more with older women, and feminine men, feminine older men and older women giving like, excuse me, sweating, giving like younger people the evil eye. And I just wanted to say, like, especially with the women and the feminine men, whatever, I believe that this is what happens when like your greatest accomplishment in life is that you got married, because when you think of it, like a lot of people, they get married. Before they get married, they have like a job, they went to college usually, and they have like a life, and then, they got married and they gave that up, and they were willing to give that up because being married was like the ultimate goal, so they just like gave up their life and they decided they were going to get married and have a family because that's like, quote, what you're supposed to do. And what happens, I think, is like when you don't have a life, you start to become obsessed with youth, I've noticed. Yeah, you just like, you look at the younger people who have potential, and because your life isn't really much, like there's not much going on. You just become obsessed with youth and and that's also part of like the status thing with age with my extended with my dysfunctional family that I don't talk to, is that it's like, it's like about putting younger people in their place because they're jealous of them. But yeah, and it's all about, and when you like centralize marriage and stuff like that, and you think that like that's the ultimate goal, that's because you're usually very male-centered. And when you look at a girl who's younger than you, because remember, in society, obviously, youth is considered attractive and stuff like that, so older women. And I remember my grandma, who's very male-centered, despite like, whatever, being single and stuff like that. Like, just because a woman is single does not mean that she's male-centered. Just because you see a woman who has issues with her husband doesn't mean she's male-centered. Just because you see a woman who is single and refuses to date doesn't mean she's male-centered. A lot of times these single women who look like so independent and are very in their masculine are super male-centered. So I remember my grandma, who is a narcissist, talking about how when she sees someone, like, she first of all was like obsessed with youth, and she felt like, and she told me like having me around was like having young blood around. It was very, very eerie. And she told me, like, she literally told me that, like, as you get older, you feel like you lose your power because you lose your beauty. And what's that rooted in? That's rooted in the male gaze. That's rooted in what's attractive to men. That's not like, you're not like losing your beauty according to other women, you're losing your beauty according to how desirable you are to men. So when you say stuff like that, you're automatically admitting that you're male-centered. And that's why, like, that's how a lot of women who just, like, look at younger women and are jealous of them, that's how they are. They're very male-centered, and that's, like, the root of it. So, yeah, I think, like, the way, because I'm very, like, about, like, I'm going to embrace aging, and I will never be, like, I'm always nicer to people who are younger. Like, the children are the future, and we have to nurture them, and we have to be, like, nice to them, you know? So, like, I'm not like that with younger people at all. And I'm determined to not be like that and not be obsessed with aging as I grow older, and to embrace aging and and try to have as many life experiences as I can and embrace maturing, you know, embrace like change, you know, and not have to like, you know, so like you can't like live a life where you get upset whenever there's like a young person around just because you feel like powerless because you're not as beautiful as you used to be back when you were like in your 20s or something. Yeah, I think the root of that is being male-centered, is just being overly focused on men. I'm sorry, I'm like sweating. I was like working out and stuff. It's just like being overly focused on men. Like that's what that's really rooted in, because like the youth thing is rooted in the male gaze. You know, when you're upset that you're not as attractive anymore as when you were younger, that's because of men. You know, because of how men view you. Like, you know, that's men are attracted to youth, whereas women are generally attracted to older men, you know? So that's what I wanted to say about it. I think like the way to avoid that as a woman is to like not make marriage your biggest accomplishment in your life, and not like centralize marriage. Like not centralize, because I think like families and stuff are important when people have them, but not like, you know, it can't be like you can't like lose your life in that, you know? You have like, and you know, not being like male-centered, you know, and that comes from having your own identity, you know, and like not looking at, because so many women, and they don't even realize it, their identity is rooted in how attractive they are to men. Like that is their whole identity, is how attractive they are to men. I don't know if you can see me in this video because the lighting is kind of weird, but I'm going to upload it anyway. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.